Coming to you from the Deep South, this is the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast. High-impact leadership is not reserved for leaders, and it has nothing to do with your position, title, or rank. However, it does have everything to do with your character. It's time to climb to the next level and beyond, personally and professionally. Now, let's start making it happen with your host, Max Story.
All right, today I want to talk to you about why leadership is so important. Actually help you kind of understand. Just pretty simple episode today, but I read a book by Simon Sinek. If you don't know about Simon, you need to check him out. He's got some cool stuff, tons of videos. You may have seen him on a video and don't even know who he was, maybe. But he's got a great book called Start With Why. And that's what I'm going to teach you a little bit about the principle that I learned in that book, but I'm going to wrap leadership around it. And then one of my favorite books, especially by Simon, it's my favorite book by him, but it's one of my favorite books of all time, is Leaders Eat Last. And tons of good information in that book. So if you hadn't checked that out, be sure to check it out. But back to what we're going to talk about today. Why is leadership so important? Why do we lead? Why do we want to focus on learning the principles of leadership? And the reason is, and you've heard me say this before, but I'm just wrapping it in this full, Simon calls it the golden circle. Basically in the center, think of a bullseye. In the center is why we do what we do. The next ring around the bullseye is how we do it. And then the next ring, bigger than that, beyond that, is what we do. So that's what I'm saying here. Why is leadership important? So I'm in the center of the golden circle. We got to know why before the rest of it matters. And the reason is, like I've said over and over, and I say it every day, leadership is influence. John Maxwell says leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. And that's where, when I first heard that, and I heard it from John, I'm like, I believe in that. Whoever is the leader, whoever has the most influence at any given time, for any given reason, in any given situation, that person at that moment is the leader. And then that's the next ring of the golden circle, is how we lead. So if leadership is influence, that's the why. That's why we need to learn more, because the more influence you have, the more options you're going to have. And the more options you have, the better your life's going to be. The more influence you have with your teammates, those above you, those below you, those beside you, you can lead 360 degrees from wherever you're at. But how do you lead? How do you become an effective leader? Or, switch the words, how do you become an effective influencer? You first must influence or lead yourself well. That's why there's so much focus on self. That's why leadership development is about personal growth and development. Because the level that you're going to be able to lead in any direction, 360 degrees from wherever you are for the rest of your life, regardless of your position or title, or lack of a position or title, either way, you've got to work on you. And then as you work on you, that's how you do it. That's how you become a leader, a high impact leader, as you work on you. And then what do you do with your leadership or your influence? You, me, we use it and leverage it to influence others. And so that's the outer ring of the golden circle. Start with why. Why we do it? Leadership is influence. How we do it? We first influence ourselves. What we do with it? We influence others. And this is assuming you want to have positive influence in the world. Again, everything I talk about relative to leadership and influence is about being positive. And Michael Josephson said it well. You don't have to be sick to get better. So regardless of who you are and where you are, check this out. The greatest athlete on the planet right now, at this moment, in any sport, they're trying to get better. And it's not because they're sick. It's because they want to get better. And that's all you have to do is want to get better. Be humble to say, I'm not the man. I'm not the woman. I got plenty of room to get better. I ain't sick. But let's get serious about moving forward. So I want to share with you today, during this lesson, I want to share with you about some of my books that fit each category. So understanding and learning that leadership is influence, the why we do it. My book in that category is Defining Influence. The subtitle is Increasing Your Influence Increases Your Options. To me, it was my first book. It could have been titled Defining Leadership. It could have been subtitled Increasing Your Leadership Increases Your Options. But I wanted everyone to not get tangled up on leadership, the word, because some people think that means for the boss. So I said Defining Influence, Increasing Your Influence Increases Your Options. So that book's also available on audio. Go to audible.com or amazon.com. You can find that audio book, or you can order it through my website if you want a signed copy, or you can get on of a paperback, or you can go through amazon.com and get a paperback book. So then the next ring, that was the bullseye. Defining Influences helps you with the bullseye, the center of the golden circle. The next ring, the outer ring, just beyond the bullseye, is how we do it. Again, we first influence ourselves. So some books that I've written, Ria's written, to help you really focus on developing yourself so you'll grow your influence. We've got a lot of books, so I've got several books to share with you here. And I'll just tell you the titles and just a slight little bit about what they're about. So how to work on growing and developing yourself so that you can go to the next level, which is really influencing others. So focusing on self, Blue Collar Leadership, Leading from the Front Lines. That book is all about how to lead yourself well, regardless of your position, title, rank, all that kind of stuff, how to lead yourself well. The next one in that category is Blue Collar Leadership and Teamwork, 30 Traits of High Impact Players. That's about how to be while you're doing what you do. All those chapters, 30 chapters, 3 pages each in both of those books. In the Blue Collar Leadership and Teamwork book, those 30 chapters all start with the word be, B-E. Be intentional, be growth-oriented, be humble, chapters, things like that. The next book for the how category, 10 Foundational Elements of Intentional Transformation, how to become your best self. That book kind of walks you through a mental roadmap on how to mentally lead yourself through transformation. Could be in one area of your life, could be in your entire life. It doesn't really matter, but it walks you through the steps. And that book has 30 chapters, 3 pages each, but there's 10 sections. The first 2 chapters in each section are really me teaching. Then the third chapter is kind of a personal story related to my personal transformation, where I share about how I applied what I just taught you in the previous 2 chapters. So that's kind of the layout throughout the book. Next book is the 10 Values of High Impact Leaders. And that book is to help you understand as a leader, what type of mindset do I want to have? And some examples of the values, and it's all about values, right? 10 values in there. The values are the value of vision, modeling, responsibility, timing, respect, empowerment, delegation, multiplication, results, and significance. Those are the 10 values that I talk about in that book. And that's how you grow and develop your influence. You've got to change your values, but you've got to decide to change them. So that book helps you see what adopting those values would do for you. The next book in this category is Change Happens, Leading Yourself and Others Through Change. Ria and I actually co-authored that book. So there's 15 sections in there. It's also the 30 chapter, 3-page format, but there's 15 sections. So 2 chapters per section. The first chapter, Ria's talking about that specific content relative to leading yourself well through change. Then the second part of that section is me talking about leading yourself, but also others through change. So I kind of bring in the public side. Ria kind of talks about the private side, and then I kind of transition from the private kind of into the public throughout that. And so The other book is Leadership Gems, and that's one of Ria's books. It's 30 Characteristics of Very Successful Leaders. And then her new book is Achieve. And Achieve, the subtitle of it is Maximize Your Potential with 7 Keys to Unlock Success and Significance. All of those books are also on audio. Those are ones that you want to get in and dive into, soak it up, think about it, start changing your mindset. That's how you'll grow and develop your influence, climb to the next level and beyond. All of those books that I've mentioned so far are all on audio as well. If you listen to this podcast, you must like audio, so that's why I'm making sure you know that, except for the Achieve book. That's Ria's newest book. It just came out, and she hasn't got that one narrated in audio yet, but it's coming, so look forward in the future. Now let's move out of that third ring that I talked about, what we do with all this leadership we've developed. And what you got to know is leadership development means character development. That's why you hear so much about character when you're talking about high impact leadership, because that's how we grow and develop our influence. We develop our character. If you want to influence people of high character, you better have high character. You ain't got a chance. I'm going to go and let you know that right now. And that's just the way it works. And you can become one of those people. Nobody expects you to be perfect, but they expect you to be living on purpose and trying to get better. So that third outer ring of the golden circle, the what we do, again, we influence others. And so I'm going to tell you some of our books that'll help you in that category when you actually start intentionally and effectively influencing others. Again, you don't have to be a formal authority leader to influence others. I promise you, wherever you work, whatever level you're at, even if it's the front lines, you're trying to influence other people. So that's why this stuff applies to you. Even if you're a frontline team member with no one reporting to you, you learn how to lead and influence without a position or title, you're going to be offered one. Then you decide if you want it or not. That's how easy it is. And if you take it, you're going to thrive in it because you know how to lead. So the books in this category to help you influence others is Blue Collar Leadership and Supervision. Subtitles Unleash Your Team's Potential. I wrote that book to help people who do have a formal authority position to be able to lead their team well, especially if those team members are learning to lead themselves well. They expect a leader who also leads themselves well. So that's what this is about. 30 chapters, 3 pages per chapter like the rest. Blue Collar Kaizen, leading lean and lean teams. Again, if you don't know my background, I have over 11,000 hours leading Kaizen events or lean teams or process improvement teams or rapid improvement teams, whatever you call them in your organization. Between 2005 and 2012, I logged over 11,000 hours leading teams like that, week after week after week. So this book, even though I got to focus on process improvement teams, this is not about process improvement. It's not about lean. It's about how to lead people, teams of people. Not just individuals, but when you have teams of people, how to get them to be effective, work together, and carry out your mission. That's what this book, 30 chapters, 3 pages also, and they're on audio, but it's full of content on how to effectively lead teams. And I put the lean spin on it because that's my background and that's what the book's focused on. But don't worry about that. If you don't have lean or know what lean is, you can learn a lot about leading teams, regardless of what the mission is, by learning the principles in that book. Another book for helping you influence others is Straight Talk, The Power of Effective Communication. And Ria wrote that book, and it is really, really good. 30 chapters, 3 pages per chapter. If you know Ria's background, you can understand why that's so powerful, because she had to learn to be an effective communicator and learn how to connect with people, because she was sexually abused by her father from age 12 to 19, horrifically abused, not a little stuff, major, big time. sexual abuse and rape, sodomy, all kind of junk like that. Homeschooled. She didn't get out in public. So I met her when she was 19. That stuff was still happening to her. And it's been awesome to see her grow and thrive. So to see her standing on stage, talking about leadership, and she was very effective in the healthcare administration industry. She's very successful there. She worked her way up to Director of Regulatory Affairs and Compliance. But then she joined me at the end of 2013, and together we have 22 books. So she's written about the same amount I have, and this is one of them. And then another book by Rhea is called Prime Time, The Power of Effective Planning. And I don't know anybody who can plan and manage and lead themselves as well as Rhea can. She does some amazing stuff. I always tell people when we're on stage, I remember one time she's working full-time at the hospital. She was teaching group fitness classes. Those are those 1-hour group classes where there's a lot of people in the room and she's up front leading. She was doing about 10 hours of those classes a week, 10 separate hours, at 10 different times on different days. While she was working full-time, she's also going to college full-time. And I must say, when she left home, she didn't even have a GED, a high school diploma. They didn't give her one. Her parents didn't, from the homeschooling. So she had to start from scratch and go get that GED. But she worked her way all the way through college and earned an MBA. But she earned a 4.0 from start to finish, all A's from beginning to end. So again, she's working full-time, teaching at the gym full-time, going to college full-time. She was training to run marathons, 26 miles, 26.2 miles. At the same time, she learned to ride mountain bikes and was racing mountain bikes at the same time. And actually, during that period, she became the 2011 and 2012 Alabama and Georgia state champion in her age group, in her category. And the house was always spotless, and she was always available for people that needed her in the family. So what I'm telling you is, you read that book, Primetime, The Power of Effective Planning, you're going to learn from someone who knows how to do it. And that's Rhea, not me. I'm nowhere close to her category when it comes to doing what she can do in a day. She is amazing. And the whole time she was doing all of that stuff I just described, all at the same exact time. Pretty amazing. Because when you train to run for marathons, you got to run a lot. Like this morning, she's training for a marathon. In a few weeks, she'll be running it. Today, she ran 24 miles. And so back then, she was doing the same thing. And it takes a while to do all this running on top of all the other stuff. So check out that book too. And I hope you enjoyed this lesson. But mainly is to teach you those three things. Why we do leadership, its influence. How we do leadership, we first influence ourselves. What we do with our influence is we then influence others. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Be sure to go check out those audiobooks, load up your phone, and get to work on these ones, whichever ones apply to the area that you need to be listening to. And even if you don't purchase the books, go in there and listen to all of these books have a 5-minute sample. So you go listen to 10 of our books, 5-minute samples, you get 50 samples for free. 50 minutes for free, just listening to the samples. And so we've got about half of our books are on audio. Pretty much all of those ones I just told you about are on audio. So go check them out. Keep growing and going. And thank you guys for listening. Talk to you next time.
Make it happen or someone else will. It might as well be you. Are you serious about taking your career and your life to the next level and beyond? Check out Mac Story's Blue Collar Leadership series books and others, now available on audio, along with paperback and ebooks at Amazon, iTunes, and Audible. Please visit bluecollarleadership.com to learn about Mac's books, programs, special offers, certifications, and more. Thank you for listening to the Blue Collar Leadership Podcast.